Welcome into the Eye on the League podcast. It's the last week of our regular season and everything is on the line. We've got first week buys, we've got playoff spots, and we've got plenty of heartbreak here. It's all come down to this. Let's break down what happened last week. Matt Eberflus lost his job after showing no situational awareness. The Bengals lost again despite putting up 38 points. The Eagles won the Battle of the Birds. Go Birds. Anthony Richardson ran through a defender to will the Colts over to the Patriots. The Panthers are showing a bit more than a pulse and pushed the Buccaneers to overtime. They really should have won it if it weren't for a costly fumble. And are the 49ers bad at football? I mean, that's another uncompetitive loss for the boys in gold and red. I'm just kidding. We don't talk about real football here. Let's talk about our league. Doghouse piled up the points and took the biggest winner prize of the week, 13, with 203 points. Chowders came out on the losing end, but they got a bit unlucky and would have taken out 5 of the other 9 teams this week. Coach Klein had a miraculous victory over no punt intended to keep their playoff hopes alive and bring multiple teams into the mix for the first week bye. Thanks, Coach Klein. Really appreciate that. Burlington's Burliest took down the Purple Herbies to stay in contention for one of those first week bye spots. The Purple Herbies are still in the playoffs, but their road there got a little bit rockier after that loss. Big Day took down Tag Sale, ending Tag Sale's chances at the playoffs. If you don't know who Tag Sale is, that is, of course, the mystery team of the week. They put up a respectable 144 points in the loss. Kind of unfortunate that couldn't come through last week. I guess Blowout and Watman also played, and the Watman came out on top. So, like I mentioned at the top, we've got a lot going on this week. It's the last week of the regular season, and one of the items that's up for grabs is one of the coveted bye spots. The way that our playoffs work, the top 6 teams make it. The first and second seeds both get a first-round bye, while the other 4 teams duke it out. And then they enter into the second round. There's a total of 3 rounds for the playoffs. It's much easier to win 2 games in a row than it is 3. So first-round bye is real big. Right now, sitting in the captain's chair for the number 1 seed is No Punt Intended. No Punt Intended has a 1-game lead over all those behind him. He faces off against Burlington's Burliest this week. It's pretty simple for No Punt Intended. Win the game, win the number 1 overall seed, and confirm that you have a first-round bye. Burlington's Burliest is sitting in 3rd place, but also has the position where if they take down No Punt Intended, then they get the first-round bye. Don't know why I'm using they. That's me. I'm not going to lie. I want that first-round bye. I'm coming after you, No Punt Intended. When we faced off in Week 5, No Punt was able to come out on top with 158 points versus my 101. However, this is important. Over the past 3 weeks, No Punt has averaged 140 points a week, while my Burlington's Burliest have averaged 198 points. Streaks don't last long in fantasy football, and this matchup is anyone's game, but I'm hopeful that I can take down No Punt Intended in the final week of the season and claim the first-round bye and get just one step closer to my 5th Final Fantasy Football trophy. Sitting in the number 2 slot right now is Doghouse. Doghouse is in a pretty good spot here. Doghouse has a big lead in points over Big Day and the Burliest, and perhaps most importantly, they get to face the Watman this week. The first week bye is all but assured for Doghouse. If the Watman want to play a spoiler here, they may need to rely on another scorcher from Judy. He put up 50 points last week, which was a third of the Watman's points. It would also benefit the Watman if Chuba Hubbard doesn't just disappear the way he did last week. Doghouse, on the other hand, just needs an average week to overcome this far inferior team. In case it wasn't clear, Doghouse gets a bye with a win or with a loss and not being massively outscored by the 2 teams behind him. Pretty much assured of one of those bye spots. With the least likely chance of getting a playoff bye is Big Day. Here's the long shot scenario, though. Burlington's Burliest wins, bringing No Punt Intended back down to the pack. And Big Day wins, but outscores Burliest by at least 23 points. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're both going to win, and that you're going to be able to outscore me by 23. But I wouldn't bet against long odds stacking up against me this year, so best of luck to you, I guess. Big Day is taking on Coach Klein this week, which brings us to one of our other batch of playoff drama. But before we get to that, let's all pour one out for the team with no name. It was a delight to have rotating names each week, and I know that my season was enhanced by the valiant efforts made by this team this season. It's been a pleasure, sir. On the back end of the playoff race, there are 3 teams competing for 2 spots. We've got New England Chowdas, the Herbies, and Coach Klein. All 3 teams have a 6-7 record, and they're all battling for 2 playoff spots. Critically, though, the Chowdas are facing the Herbies this week. This guarantees that one of these teams is going to pick up a loss and puts all the pressure onto Coach Klein. Coach Klein is in a win-and-in scenario against Big Day. This is going to be a tall task for Coach Klein. However, in Week 5, when they last met up, Coach Klein did come out on top with 157 points against 151 points. Coach Klein was in a must-win situation last week against a far better team and somehow found a way to do it. This is not new territory for Coach Klein. Stacking against Coach Klein, there are many buys on that bench this week that are going to be pretty hard to overcome. I think ultimately Big Day is going to come out on top here, and the Chowdas and the Herbies are both going to advance. But for what it's worth, I think the Chowdas are going to come out on top in that one. The matchup of the week is going to be Burlington's Burliest versus No Punt Intended. We've got a buy on the line here. Yeah, it's nice that Coach Klein's trying to make the playoffs, but I think one of the 2 teams between Burlington's Burliest and No Punt Intended are probably going to win the league, and that just holds a little bit more interest to me. All right, guys, as we wrap up the pod this week, I'd like to encourage everybody to bring the heat in the group chat. Call your shots. I'll start. Herbies, it's a bad week for you to have Daniels on the bye. I think you're going to lose to the Chowdas. Fortunately for you, I also think that Coach Klein is going down this week. Klein's going to be missing Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, and Tank Dell. Those are some big pieces to plug holes into. Luckily, you've picked up a couple pieces. You've got the 49ers' new star running back, maybe. But ultimately, I think Herbies and Chowders will both make the playoffs, and Coach is going to be on the outside looking in. My second piece of trash talk. No punt intended, you're going down. I want this more than you. And you have 2 eyes. So there, take that. Next week, it's playoff time. We'll be diving into the matchups, look at some potential upsets, and say goodbye to 2 more of our players this season. Good luck to everyone this week, except for No Punt Intended, because I've got a bye to steal. Peace.
Stepped into the building, changes swinging on my neck, gold rings on my fingers, something on my wrist, tucked into my waist, still see me with a clip. Big glass of the Bombay, take a little sip like vintage sticks, little blast from the past. Gold rings click when I pass in the club. Just stepped into the building, show a little face, and I'm back on the